I'll hand it over to Father Charles, and then if anybody has something to add, and then we'll close up for this session.
Thank you very much, Pap. Very quickly, I mean, talking about our farmers. Okay. Hello, can you hear me? Okay. Talking about small farmers or people like that, you know, how come they do a lot of work, but they don't benefit much from the hard work? Okay. And it's related to the question that, the second question that he raised, and I spoke about it in my initial intervention, which is the power of knowledge. Yeah? And I also spoke about the need for us to enhance the skills of young people and people like farmers. Because in what makes you eat from your hard work, it's what you produce. What is its value? And what value is it making to accrue to you? And value can be in terms of, okay, let's take it in terms of money, in terms of revenue. Revenue is determined by, you know, what you sell, what's the price and the quantity. But that is also determined by the quality of your products, which will be determined by the technology you use and the knowledge into it and all of those inputs. So that what you offer is demanded for and it fetches a high price, because price is an important component in the process. It's price times the quantity. So in order for you to increase price, you want to increase the value of the product. So what we need to do is to increase the capacity, okay, of these producers in terms of producing more, but also the quality of production. Okay, that's why we emphasize that we need to invest in technological innovation, in developing knowledge and skills that will enhance the products of the things that we produce. Now, this is a matter of those people who produce, but like I said, it's also a matter of what Pap referred to, systems change. How do we change systems in such a way that we build capacity? Okay? And that's a question of responsibility on the part of those who govern. Okay, how much time, how much resources do they allocate to the development of local farmers? And today I've been talking about systems. Again, there is an increased marginalization of those groups that you're talking about, and there's more and more attention being paid to products from outside. It's a shame, my sisters and my brothers, that Africa imports close to 85% of the food that it eats. Yeah, and that's in value terms, because we and I now tend to eat things like cornflakes and bran flakes and all of those things that have value added to them compared to the cassava that is produced in some village somewhere. Yeah, so for that to change, it needs systems. Huh? How do we ensure that we protect our own people and give them capacity and build their capabilities, and at the same time put in things that will sort of not allow foreign things to erode our systems. It's eroding. That's what we care for as a church. In fact, we call it food sovereignty. What gives you power over what you produce, and not only what you produce, also that it has value and policy, okay, and what government does, and all of that, and it is related to your second question. How come the largest producer of cocoa is not the largest producer of chocolate? I repeat what I said. What separates Switzerland and the developed North from Africa and the developing South is not a gap in money. It's a gap in knowledge. And that's what we need to work at. Again, it's both public investment in developing knowledge, but also private investment in developing knowledge. How do we ensure that we have systems, we have policies that incentivize the production of knowledge by the private sector, like you guys? Okay? So that in what you're producing and your businesses, there's also investment in allocate sufficient resources to the production of knowledge, not just to the production of cocoa, suspend the production of cocoa for a while, but pay attention to the, how, do you have enough professors in the university? Are they well paid? Do you have enough universities? Do you have enough secondary schools? Do you have enough primary schools? How many Africans or how many Senegalese or Ivorians are going to school? Yeah? Unless we change that, your question won't change. And we have an example. I gave an example of Singapore, South Korea, Malaysia, and others that have done that within one generation. Within one generation. So like I said at the beginning, we have to be intentional. When we are making budgets, we must decide where do we take, any businessman decides, where do I take my resources to get more returns? And we must decide not just looking at the immediate returns, but also returns in the future. So how are government budgets, okay, made, and what do governments do to incentivize not only resources going, public resources going to education and production of knowledge, but also incentivize private sector to produce knowledge, yeah? Without that, that question again won't change. We will keep producing the cacao, yeah? Which we don't even, how many Ivorians even eat the cacao? It's all exported, okay? So finally, I want to state what I said again. We also have to be intentional about changing the way our economies look like, economic transformation. The economy that the white man left in the 60s or 50s, which was about production of cocoa for Europe and copper and diamonds for Europe, is the same model that our governments are using. Yeah? An average African country, Zambia, Congo, Ivory Coast, all of them almost, except for a few, they produce for the North. You know, rather than produce locally and invest in the production of value-added goods that could be sent to bring in more, what you call, to bring in more gains or more revenue. Unless we change that, okay, unless we transform our economies, unless we invest in education, we won't. I was looking at a graph that a friend of mine, a fellow Jesuit technology economist, you know, he did this graph that was really interesting. He put together the public investment and private investment in knowledge production in the North, and the graph was like this. And then he compared that to Africa. The graph was flat, like that. Yeah? Yeah? And he put also other African countries by themselves. South Africa looked like this, and all the rest just looked like that. But when he took even the South Africa that went like this and compared it to the North, South Africa went flat. Yeah? It's not that difficult. It just depends on how much time, how much of resources we invest in taking that child to school and all children to school, in building schools, in ensuring that there are right teachers, professors, build the health system, and all of those things for us to see development. Thank you.
Thank you. I think, I know you have questions, but we don't have a lot of time, so I'll say that after this you approach us, and then we're just inviting you to the next Impact Africa in Nigeria, to the launch of the fund, and also reach out to individual panelists here. You can find them on LinkedIn. You can talk to me, Numbu, or Father. 60% of African farmers are over 60s. That's one. What we're producing mostly is for consumption, and it's a labor intensive, so it's not mechanized agriculture. So those tells you a lot. The reason why Impact Africa is here is that how do we do things together to scale it up? So the whole thing is how do we scale up to be globally competitive? I'll finish with a story, and I'll give it to Numbu, who's the youth representative here, to close and send us back home. I had a friend who's producing rice in the north of Senegal. And there was a Chinese company that asked him if he can commit to produce 10,000 tons a month, 10,000 tons of rice a month. He tried everything, he couldn't do it. You know what happened? The Chinese company ended up buying him his land and now brought people to produce it. So that's what happened. So I'll hand it over to Nombu to close.
I just want to appreciate everybody who came to join to join the session. We really appreciate your time and also making the session as interactive as possible. We're really looking forward to connecting with you even beyond this conference, and please reach out if you have any further questions and if you have any ideas or rather any ideas of how you would need help with. Thank you. We're looking forward to connect even beyond this.
Thanks, Pauline. Thanks, Moses. Thanks, Aya. Thanks, the tech group. Thanks, everyone. So look forward to seeing you around. Thank you.